welcome to our first On the Couch series for She Will Shine. My name is Danielle Price and I'm the founder of She Will Shine. On the couch today, I'm really excited because we have the lovely Hollie Drake-Brockman from ZZ Totz. And Hollie's a good friend of mine and she's one hell of an amazing lady in business. And she's got a great story to tell. So we're going to find out a little bit about Hollie's story, also a little bit about her business because I think it's pretty fabulous. But we're going to have a chat. So thanks for joining us and welcome, Hollie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be our first On the Couch lady in business. Share with us why you started your business.
Yeah, sure. So I lost my job when the GFC hit, global financial crisis. I was in shop fitting as sales and marketing. And at the time I was pregnant with my second child and they didn't know, but to me that was a blessing because I was so sick. I could go home, be in my trackies and have morning sickness at home. But after he was born, doing all the mum stuff was amazing, but I just didn't have a creative outlet. And I started thinking about work. What was I going to do with two babies? Was I going to go back to the 9 to 5 and daycare? And I just didn't want to. So I started playing around with maybe doing something for myself. I'd never thought that I would be in business or have my own business. It just wasn't a thought that I'd ever had. And so I'd made hats for Racing Carnival for friends and had done a few paid jobs. So the building, I loved. And then seeing how they looked in their outfits.
Seeing it all come together.
Yeah, and that was really cool, but it just wasn't, like I liked doing it, but it wasn't a passion. It wasn't a burn that, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I started playing around with another idea. Well, we were in mum's group.
Yep.
And we'd go around to all the houses and we'd share. But the kids, so there was a couple of older kids in the group and they always wanted to come to my house. So I was like, why do you want to come to my house?
Cool house.
They're like, we can make stuff at your house, you know, you get the recycling bin out and we just have fun, you know, like I used to just get newspapers out and do whatever. They could just, and the mess to me, I don't see the mess. I see the fun.
You were the craft mum.
I was the craft mum.
You were the mum that I was like, oh my gosh, how does she do it?
But I took it for granted. I just thought everybody could do that. I just thought everybody saw the recycling bin as fun, like I do. But people don't. They see it as the rubbish. So I was like, okay, this is really interesting. So I started probing my mum's group. Like, why don't you why don't you do this with your kids? And it was a real eye-opener. I just, as my friends call me, I'm the arty-farty one.
Yeah.
My mum's an art teacher. Both my brothers are designers. A lot of my extended family are creative. And so I've been around it my whole life. And I just, I really took it for granted that was our thing.
Yeah.
And so I pro and I art, you know, do you mind if I ask, you know, and they told me things like an art shop, which is like Bunnings to me, you know, I could spend hours in there, to them is really intimidating. You know, you walk in and you might want a couple of pieces of paper, but you got to buy the whole stack. And if you want a couple of feathers, all of a sudden you've got the whole
bunch.
thing.
Yep.
And then not only is it the activity, then what do they do with this stuff when it's finished?
Can I just mention, and the mess? Because I'm like, I'm happy to buy the stuff, but I'm like, but I got to clean up the mess.
But that is a really big thing for parents that I found, was the mess. Oh my God, the mess. And so the mess took over the fun that the kids would have. And they're like, oh, okay. So I really just like, tell me some more, you know, what about if we did them? What do you like and what don't you like? And all these sort of questions that I just didn't think, you know, it just wasn't a thing for me. I just loved all of that. So I did a few trials, like the little noodle boxes. It was like, oh, maybe we could make them into fun characters and all the stuff would be in the box. And so I really got down to, okay, it needs to be a pack.
Yeah.
Whatever we do is going to be a pack for these, so they don't have to feel like they need expertise and know what other materials are. It's just going to be there and they're going to be able to open it. And then I started So, the research, I went and bought a whole heap of craft activities for me and the kids. And, when it was...
Your kids would have loved that.
Yeah, well, also the mums group, because they were the days I was like, right, I've got a whole room of kids. And so they were my testers. And in doing that, I found some really amazing things. Like, yes, there's many craft activities out there, but a lot of them, once it's made, then it sits on the shelf. Mum and dad, they're already, oh my God, this is a craft activity. Now they've got to find somewhere to put this thing, and it's got to be on show because the kids are loving it. So that was an interesting factor. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't want it to just sit on a shelf.
Become a shrine to art, but not
and just be a thing, that you got to dust around.
Yep.
And so then I also looked like, what is in these packs? What else did I have to buy that wasn't in there? So you glues, and maybe there was other, bits and pieces that they wanted the add-ons.
Yep.
And then I looked at the instructions. Half the time there's no instructions. There's a picture and then you've got to try and make it to what it looks like. Or the instructions are there, they might be in a different language, or they're just too hard. And once the kids have to hand it over to mum or dad or, whoever's helping them, the minute that handover of can you help me or can you finish this, disconnect.
Yeah.
It's no longer the kids.
True. Yes.
Because the parents will make it perfect, so they're exactly how it looks on the picture, they'll try and
of course. I've been that parent, I've done that.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
So that was I was like, okay, cool. So all these little factors I wrote down, but I still didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then my mum bought these character cutouts, like just people cutouts to me. And she was like, oh, I found these, these are pretty cool. The minute she put it in front of me, bang, the ideas were coming. I saw the costumes, I saw the characters. I was like, okay, cool. Where else can this go? And then we went to a fun fairy day with my daughter. And there was like so many different activities to do, and there was 2 craft tents. We could not get near them. I was like, oh my God, this
is where it's at.
My heart was like, oh, this is awesome. And so I was like, okay, the kids, they want this, but there was still that little thing, what else is it? And then my daughter walked out with this like fairy wand that she'd made, and it was on a stick. I was like, that's it. We played in the park for hours with this little fairy wand, and she went out. I'm like, right, that's it.
That's the one.
That's what I'm going to do. So I made them as puppets. They're not like, interactive pull strings and things, because I didn't want them to be. I wanted them to be pretty simple, because I say they're 3+. So the kids, and so that was pretty much the thing, and all those little bits and pieces came together, and I decided they were going to be puppets.
And you bought some along. Can we show the
so I bought some
so everyone knows what we're talking about.
So these are my puppets.
So they're awesome. So that was what was happening in the business.
Yes.
And I know a lot was happening personally as well.
Same time as all this was going on. I put my hand up. I suffered postnatal anxiety, which I'm loving is being talked about. I went for months going, oh, what is wrong? Like, I don't know what's happening, but in my mind, I've only heard about postnatal depression. And I'm like, I'm not depressed. Like, I'm loving my kids, I'm loving my things, but oh my God, I can't leave the house. And it took over, and I was hospitalised for about 6 weeks. In a mother-baby unit, which thank God we have them around. I was lucky mine was 10 minutes away from home. But that was it was a shock to everybody, because I'd masked it for a long time. And I think having this idea allowed me to mask it, because I could turn off and put my focus to something
else.
Which I was so thankful, because funnily enough, that got me through. So I was in this unit, and I was designing, they gave us, you go through so much there, because pretty much when you've hit that, you've forgotten everything about yourself. I didn't, what do you like doing? I have no idea. I'm doing kids, and that's really all I can absorb. So I had to remember
who you were.
Yeah, like what do I like doing? And so, and one day I was telling one of the nurses about what I was doing with these things before. She's like, where are they? I'm like, oh, well, I've only got one or two. She's like, bring them in. So, so my husband brought all my design stuff in and my pencils and stuff, and that was wonderful. And also a really beautiful thing, that's what I did with my daughter when she came in. So unfortunately, she couldn't stay with me, so it was only me and Zach, and as a baby unit.
How old was Zach at this time?
Zach was 8 months old, and Zoe was 2 and a bit. Oh no, she just turned 3. So I entered the unit the weekend of Mother's Day. So it was tough. Well, I went in on the Friday night and they let me out on Sunday. Could go home, but and so I started using these as a way to connect with Zoe. So when she came in, we could play, we could colour and just tune out. She could tune out that she'd had to go through 2 lockdown doors, and Mum couldn't come home. And that's pretty tough.
Forget about where she was and just focus on the fact that she was with you.
We just played and, and
that's what kids want.
And every day she made a different one, and so they ended up being my wallpaper. So, she'd leave it on the wall and go home, and so I made my room fun. And so that was another element that I'd had no idea we could get to, which was the connection. And actually that's one of the major values of what I do. Why I do this is to, yes, it's a puppet, and yes, it's made of paper, and yes, it's craft and all that sort of thing, but the connection the kids can get with themselves, with the carer that's bought it for them or, given it to them, and it just blows me away. I still think, oh my God, it's only a puppet, but so much.
It does so much.
Oh yeah, and it's been taken to so many different avenues and situations that, back then when I was just making something so I could get kids creating, I had no idea we could get there.
So what sort of, you've had some huge things happen for the business on and off over the years. So what sort of things?
So some amazing things are, we were stocked in stores right across Australia and in Singapore. We went off to a trade show and we're really successful. But I didn't really feel like that was the end all of what we could do, but it was very time consuming, being on my own. And doing that, and so I felt a bit lost with that, and so I just had to take a step back and go, okay, what are we doing?
Regroup.
And really, like most businesses, you can get pulled into situations of you should be. So when I started out was with groups. We started off doing birthday parties and things, and I love that when it was in groups, and then sort of went to the shops, which was great, but because I could only see the shop owner and I couldn't see the kids that was playing with it.
The interaction on the other side.
So I missed that. So I had to sort of just stop and go, okay, where do I like playing and being and things. So so our focus now is on groups, so holiday programs, classrooms, events, things like that. And I just want to push the thinking of others, like, a colouring sheet is really cool and it's easy, but once they leave, whether it be your event or your holiday program or whatever it might be, it's lost. It can either be in the bin on the way out, or
the parents chuck it in the bin on the way.
Totally, or it's lost under the car seat, But I find with ours, because the kids have made them, and like we showed before, like the kids have to put their faces on. So they're all blank. So you'll get, if you had 50 pirates, there'll be 50 different pirates. I ran a workshop, and so we do workshops with them, so the kids can get together and play. And one of the kids turned the pirate into a ninja. I'm like, whoa, that's the best, because his imagination is going, well, you've said this, but man, I want to do that. And that's what I love.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So, and so now, like, we started, I say we, it's just me. It's just we. So I started at 8 years ago, and honestly, so when you say go back, it was why I wanted to get going was the iPhone came out.
Yep.
And so we'd go to play dates and things, and like this screen would be handed over to the kids.
There's a group of kids there, and there's
sitting
a screen
around, and like back the iPhone's tiny. The iPads weren't around, and I was horrified. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, because people didn't sort of say, well, we didn't turn up and you walk in and turn the TV on and sit them.
Yeah.
Everyone would go, what are you doing? But they're handing over the iPhone, and so back then I was like, oh, this is an alternative, and I was like, what? This is cool. Yeah. The iPhone's great. There's no problems. But now, people are ready to listen. So I didn't really used to say that in my, hey, this is a screen alternative and things, but I'm starting to use that a little bit more now because I think people are open to the message. I'm not preaching or anything. I'm just saying, hey,
this is the alternative.
We're all now aware that, they're pretty easy to hand over and they're pretty easy to think. I just don't, it boils, makes the blood boil inside when I see that being used as entertainment and things when there's lots of kids around, and I just feel like they're disconnecting. They're not connecting with each other. So I will keep pushing, hey, here's an alternative that's easy. Yeah.
So apart from the puppets, I know you've had a lot to do with youth.
Yeah, for sure.
On your journey, can you maybe share a little bit about that as well?
So one of the ideals is behind the puppets is I'd really love to be working with kids in crisis. So, there's so many kids out there that are really put into not nice situations because of the adults in their life, like we've got kids rocking up to jails for visiting, but taking that in is so harsh. So I really wanted to investigate how I could get a bit of play in there so they could just come back down to kid level. And so I was studying in the city and met Ian from the YMCA and was telling me about these courses and not courses, they're workshops and camps that they were doing with young people. And one of them was teaching young people how to start their own businesses and social enterprises. And I was blown away. I was like, tell me more. I had, when I was a kid, we didn't have any opportunities like that. And I literally said to him, can I come? I will be up the back. I will hand out, pieces of paper or whatever you want me to do. But please, can I just be in the room? I just want to hear, or see or, just want to be involved. Never have I thought I had anything to offer young people. My business was under 10s at the time. My children were, I think, under 7 or 8 or something like that.
Why not add something else to the mix, Hollie?
Why not? And I never do things by half. Yeah. But so I rocked up and I've ended up volunteering on the first program that they ever did, the Launchpad for YMCA, and I loved it. I fell in love with that space. They're just, young people get a very hard rap, There might be two, punks out there that are making trouble, but there's so many just amazing young people just wanting to be heard, to be seen, and to be listened to.
Yeah, be understood.
Yeah, and I mean, if we all remember being a teenager, man, how confusing is it? And I still to this day, like 16, 17, being asked to what do you want to do for the rest of your life is such a massive question. Huge. So I ended up, as I said, falling in love with that space and the young people. And so I stepped back from the business for about 2.5 years, 3 years, and really investigated what is going on. Why am I enjoying this so much? And I found it was all about just really tapping in and shining a light on who they were and helping them do that. Just giving them space, I'm here to listen. Tell me your dreams, tell me your things, and then connecting them with my, vast personal or business network. If they were interested in a particular area or, just wanted to talk to somebody that was doing it, then I could connect them, and I enjoyed that, being a connector, as you are, a beautiful connector. It's really nice to not only hear someone say, oh, I'd really like to do that, and go, well, hey, Let me introduce you to somebody that is doing it, you know, because...
We can make this happen.
I know, it wasn't until I started this business that I really owned that I was a creative, you know, like I was designing things in shop fitting and stuff, but I didn't really own it, that because we were sort of like, oh, you know, no one's going to pay you to draw.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really pushed in the work that I did. You can't turn off what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
You can bottle it down and put that stopper in and, you know, put cement over it, but it'll keep bubbling away and it'll keep poking out going, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
And if you don't listen, yeah, it'll mess you up.
Yeah. So it's like you've really come full circle with everything.
Yeah.
You know, what you're saying about people, you know, children finding themselves and who they are.
Yeah.
Like you went through that.
I did. And I think that was very powerful to be. I don't think I could be in that room as much, you know, and as present with those young people if I hadn't done it. And I shared that openly with them. I'm like, I am here because this is what happened to me, you know.
Did it take you time though to get to that point?
Yeah. Like even when I even going through the School of Social Entrepreneurs, you know, that was the course that I met Ian from YMCA. Even at our graduation, we had to get up and say why we started this. I couldn't say that I was in the mother-baby unit or mental health. I just, the words couldn't come out without me being very emotional because I hadn't owned it. I was still embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was still not comfortable that was an experience that I'd had, but and I think that all the amazing work that's happening with Beyond Blue, and you know, I really love the work that Wayne Swash is doing at the moment with his Pucker Up. I think you know, just some more people that can get out there and do that. And so I was really happy and cherished to have met Jamin Heppel. So he was who I did Launchpad with, and he really not pushes you, but really just embraces, like, own it. If that's you,
yep,
that's you, you know. And so he was really, supportive and helped me share that story. And so in that, we just had some amazing things come out of that program. And and so now I'm in the space, okay, what else can I do? Yeah. What else can I do? So I've left there.
So how many years since you started ZZ Totz?
Yep.
Let's kind of put it all in perspective. 8 years.
Yeah, so I started it in 2010.
Yep.
So we're 8 years down the track and have had so many different, you know, ups and downs, but changes along the way. So I started hand cutting all my pieces with scissors.
Oh my goodness.
And be like, by Sunday night, I can't do anything. And so, you know, Mum, please, can you help? And poor Mum had to come over and cut some pieces out. And then, and it's just, every time I've like upscaled is from talking. Yeah. So I was talking to my sister-in-law and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. She's like, you have to, they're awesome. Yeah. Like, I can't, my hands are killing me. She's like, well, I use a sewing machine, you know, for her things. Surely we can find something.
There's a tool somewhere out there to help you.
So she Googled and found these like mini die cutters that are, you know, for the house. And the minute she sent it, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I didn't even know that there was a machine, but that's what I needed.
That was it.
Googled it. The guy was in Werribee. I live in Werribee. It was like, this is meant to be. So I rang him up the next day. I'm like, dude, can you show me what this is? And so I went down and was literally like, oh,
you're rocking my world here.
Sold. And so the minute we did that, that was just like, wow, that opened, completely. All of a sudden, all the ideas and the situations that were in my mind could come out. Then we had some interest from an airline, which was scary, awesome. And I was like, oh, wow, I can't do this from this machine. And so that's what these ones came from. They're all, so I have a factory overseas. I found that through my husband, you know, just asking again. I'm like, okay, well, this is the next step. Where do I even start? So he's in shipping, and just by chance, they'd had a big print job done, and they'd had wallets, you know, like A4, document wallets. My background is design from school. So I sort of, in my mind, like, okay, cool. Well, they'd need to die cut that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm sort of asking. I wonder
There's something there.
Yeah, well, I just want, being curious and asking and following that. So I sent her a message and like, look, because for China you have to be introduced to the factory. You can't just rock up and say, hey, can you do this? So I had to get the introduction through my husband's work and sent them and said, look, this is what I'm doing. This is the idea. Can you do that? And they just said, yeah, sure. And it was great. As much as I'd love to do it in Australia, I couldn't find anyone that would do the quantities that we needed just to trial it out. When the big quantities come, we can bring it back home, which I can't wait. But so we had to do that. And that in its own mind with values was very,
do I or don't I?
I'm not comfortable with this. And I just said that to the factory or my correspondent that I was talking to, Elaine. And
so she was an agent? Is that kind of how it works?
Well, no, she works for the factory, and I would say she would be an account manager, sort of thing. And so I said to her, I'm really nervous. I've heard all these things. And so we good friends, sort of chatting. We share photos of our kids. Yeah. And then, so I found out she's a mum and, and this is her work. This is her livelihood. And she went out and took photos of the factory for me and sent them like, look, what else do you need? What else? And, fear is huge in business. It can be a real just stopper. Like people just stop stuff for fear, and like people are like, oh, they're going to rip your designs off. Like the minute it gets they'll run an extra 5,000. They'll be selling it. So I said that to her. What happens? She's like, no, we don't do that. She showed me their secure bin. Any runoffs go in there. We had problems with the first run. It wasn't right. And so I said to them, I'm not happy. And they're like, yeah, no problem. So they videoed them guillotining all my...
So you could see.
Yeah, they're like, it's gone. Don't stress. So
do you think, like, working with people that you can trust, because, we're all in the sort of same boat, we're all working on our own.
Yeah.
So having that trusted network around, has that made a difference?
Huge. And I think absolutely, absolutely. But being able to say, I'm not good here. Like, when those thoughts churn, the what ifs, when they take over, if you don't ask or you don't say that it's paralyzing. Like I could have not have these now. I could have gone, oh my God, yeah, you're right. And yes, definitely, like She Will Shine's huge for me. They are a really big factor in my business. Like, gorgeous Chrissy the other day, she's, we were just chatting. She's like, hey, I'm like, I'm really flat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good. And she's like, okay, cool. What are you doing today? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, right, we're going for a coffee.
Yeah.
And I got out of my space.
Yeah. I guess there's things about vocalising how you're feeling and what you're going through.
Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy to say, no, I'm not good. Because I think a big thing, and that's what I love about our network, I think, because it's not perfect. Yeah. Like we show up real, because it's very easy to flick through Instagram like, oh my God, I'm nowhere near those. I know myself.
It's a show reel of the good times. Yeah.
Well, I had to step back from the business. I was out of it for a good 3 years because it was so emotional being with, I just couldn't split. I couldn't focus on the business and the young people. So I made the choice, okay, I'm just going to focus on this. So I've had to come back, and there's just so many different emotions that have come up with that. I'm like, oh, well, I say I'm in business for 8 years, but, well, really I was out of it for 3. So beautiful. Simone reminded, another one of our shiners, she reminded me, she's like, yeah, but did you have clients coming through? I said, yeah. She's like, well, you were in business. But there's so many times if you don't have that network around you that you could just get bogged down with it. But yeah, having people you trust, but listening, because there's people around you that you think you should be able to trust with sharing, and sometimes it's hard when they're the closest to you, but they don't get what they don't get what you're trying to do. They don't, not that they don't value it, but it's just not their thing.
It's not the same. Yeah.
Cool, share a little bit about it, and share it to the extent of, okay, well, that's what I'm filling in, but really find those people that you can go, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And who really understand, and it's like those things. You can't really take advice from people about your business who aren't in business. because they have no idea.
It's like taking parenting advice from someone who doesn't have kids. Yeah, which we've all had.
Just roll my eyes like, oh.
But it's true, isn't it? Like, we have friends around us who are amazing.
Yeah.
But if they're not in the same situation that we're in, they never quite get it. And they can try. And,
you acknowledge it and be thankful, because a lot of the time it's coming from a space of love, but you can pick up on their fear, because they're fearful. They don't want you to fail, and they don't want to see you hurt, which is great, but you have to keep putting yourself out there. So very emotional the last probably 9 to 12 months of going, okay, I'm back here.
Yeah, and
owning it that, yes, this is, because I had to make the choice. Yeah. Like I got to that point where it's, all right, I either close the business or, and stay in this space of the youth work, or I come back and do what I want. So I had to make that choice, but in that, sitting with it is, I'm not making the choice, because I'm working on how I can bring that into what I do now and work with creative kids and show them, because I really love that space and I don't want to let that go. I want to keep working.
Yeah, that's where your passion is.
It is, yeah.
So what's next? What's the big picture?
Yes.
It can change, but what's the big picture now?
Yeah, so the big picture now is like exactly what I just spoke about, is bringing these workshops to life. A lot of the work that I did with the YMCA program has just sat with me, it just never has left. So I'd like to see how I can bring that into the ZZ Totz family, which will give us a beautiful stepping stones, I suppose. So the puppets, we can say it's an introduction for young kids to get them into creative, using their imagination and things. And then the workshop is for those, 16 to 21 that are dabbling or playing around with, well, I am a creative, but what do I do? And then for the puppets is to really push that group space. So really get into just telling people in like holiday programs, and when I say holiday programs, I mean like even out on the resorts, on the cruise ships, like this is a big vision that I see. And breaking it down, any space where there's not actually going to be creative people. You might not have anyone creative on your staff. And I know the work we did with YMCA, you don't know what skill set is turning up, especially if you're in a volunteer space. So, and that's where we come in. The box is ready. You're ready to go.
I was going to say, so in the kits, I think they're fabulous. There's even a mess mat. Mess mat for people like me who freak out when things are messy. But you've got the mess mat, you've got the glue.
Yeah.
You've got everything that you either punch through depending on age, or you cut around, depending on ability.
Yes.
With a whole gamut of amazing characters that you've designed.
I know. So,
amazing.
I did a little exercise the other day of working out. I just needed to list all my characters, and I honestly thought I'd have about 20. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
And how many did you have, young lady?
I had 65.
65 characters waiting to hit the outside world.
Yes. So that's the goal. The goal is to show everything that we've got already, because it's all there. I just have to show it. And
is that the hardest part?
Yeah, because being a designer, my imagination takes over, and so I was like, oh, I could do this and I could do that, and oh, it could look like this, and that could be 6 weeks down the track. So I really just have to go, it's okay, done is better than perfect. And if there's going to be version 2, then there's version 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's just cutting that off. Whereas, so I use my husband, who's
God bless him.
He even says himself like he's not creative. So I go to Maddie. I'm like, right, he's like, this is great. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm good. Yeah. My favourite thing is when they're used as a learning tool. So at the moment, there's a lot of talk about hand-eye coordination for young kids because of the screens. We're just not getting, and scissor cut, like
fine motor skills.
Yeah, kids are struggling to use scissors. So we've got a whole range of cutting out, but it's fun. It's not just cutting along a line. They're going to create an astronaut or something, or farmer or something, and have that at the end. So using all that, and at the moment, the one that I'm investigating is for colour blindness.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so I have a friend who was talking the other day. I'm like, oh my God, it was just a thought. And she told me her child was like, I'm like, oh, please, if I do this, will you test them? Because again, like as a learning tool, how awesome that we could give a little kid a pirate to make that's going to, so I'm not all over what that is all about, so I've got to research that. But just those little things, then it's not boring for them, and we can give them something fun that might not have been thought about. And that's probably the hardest thing. It is new, or it's different, not new, but it's different, and just trying to get that across to people, that cool, it's different, but please just trust me, the kids are going to love it.
Just give it a go.
That's a hard thing. Yeah. Because I've got two clients. I have the adults who I have to sell it to, and the kids who I design for. Yeah. So
that's right. That's exactly right. What do your kids think of it?
Yeah, they love it. They absolutely love it. When they were little, they were my full testers. Now they're my packers.
It's not working.
I have them in the warehouse, so like packing the things. But they're my cheer squad, and there's a lovely picture going around of Mama Lion, and there's a little cub in the back, and it's always remember who's watching.
Yeah.
So.
Gosh, that's true.
So that's my motivation. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm done. I can't take it anymore.
And we all go through that. Gosh, I go through that.
Yeah, and I can't do it. And then I hear my daughter telling one of their friends about it, or, getting excited, like, what are you doing today? And, telling them I'm going to be interviewed. They're like, what? That's awesome.
Mum's famous. She's on She Was Shy.
That's their thing. I'm like, yeah.
I love it though.
So they are my cheer squad. And my husband has been absolutely there from day dot. It's not his thing, but he knows it's mine. Yeah. And so he'll just, sure. He doesn't understand it. It's like, okay, hold. You see this look, like, what? Okay, yeah.
Well, what's that word that you used? You holified it.
Yeah, holify everything. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, so that's my brother my older brother Troy, I have two brothers. Todd's a furniture designer, and my older brother Troy is a graphic designer. So, we talk same language, and he is amazing. He's my branding. He's my go-to. If I'm, I need this or I'm thinking of this, I'll always run it by him. And if I get stuck, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I just need to holify it." It's just.
That's going to make the dictionary one day.
Yeah, he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's just a bit same. Yeah. I need the Hollie in it. Yeah. I need to
add colour, mix it up a bit.
Yeah, pretty much. And he gets it now. Like, we use it often. I'm like, I'm waiting for the holify, and we'll be fine.
Thank you so much, Hollie, for sharing your story with us. I know you've been through a lot over the years, but you're amazing. You're such an inspiration to me personally.
Oh, you're beautiful.
But all of us.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Buy some puppets.
Yeah, there's the puppets. You had a cameo appearance from Penny. Oh, she's coming back. Here she is. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an honour to bring Hollie's story to you, and I'm looking forward to bringing so many more. Thanks. Bye.